Hey guys, we're back with a third video today. Nice plane. Hey guys, we're back here in Grenada with our third video. We've already posted the first one, and we doubled our subscribers on our YouTube chain. It's incredible. It's exploding. We went from we didn't double it. We multiplied it by 5. We went from 2 to 10 subscribers, so it's exploding, obviously. So today we're going to be working on some water leaks where water goes into the engine bay and rusts your engines. A lot of people have rusty engines. This is the main reason why. That's what we're going to be addressing today. So let me show you what I mean by that. So there's two main places where the water goes in. The first one is the emergency tiller access port right here, and the two latches, the one on each side. They they always leak, and where they leak from is there's some kind of insert in there. You can't really see, but they all leak. Today we're gonna show you how I fix it permanently, basically. In the meantime, when we bought the boat, the first thing I did was put some containers right underneath to catch that water, especially when we're sailing. You actually get salt water, and that goes on the engine. That's not too good. On this boat, we've also already fixed. So the emergency tiller port was leaking badly, and the floor, the bottom part here around the tiller arm was completely rotted out, so we rebuilt that. I'll post some pictures inside the video for you to see. So here you can see the very bad repair that was made by the charter company. This is how we got the boat. So we removed that plate, and you find underneath a nice big hole. So we cut all the bad part out, took all that out, and then poured in some epoxy and made a nice solid base to put back the stainless stopper. So removing these Southgo latches is pretty easy. You just have two Phillips screws here. We're going to use the screwdriver here to remove that, and then we just slide the cap off and then push this part out from the top. It looks a little bit mangled and rusty, so I'm going to use a small vice grip and just grab the head and turn it that way. Probably end up just cleaning out the heads. Looks like something's stuck in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is clean off a little bit of the silicone, the sealant they had around here on both sides, so that we can put some tape on top of the holes, because we're going to be using epoxy that needs to dry at least for a day on the latches. So in the meantime, so that no rain goes in, we're going to seal these off with just some blue tape. So to complete this job, we've got the blue tape to seal off the opening. We've got a scraper to remove the old sealant, vice grip, screwdriver, electric screwdriver, and then we have gloves. The one thing I always use with gloves is talcum powder. It's just so much easier to slip them on. And we have the extra large here, and for me they're a bit tight. Once you've tried it with talcum powder, you'll never go back. Got a bit of epoxy here. It's a 2-part epoxy. This we're going to use to clean the screws. I've got some acid here that removes the rusts So we're going to be also cleaning these out a little bit with the toothbrush and some acid. So you definitely need the gloves. And then we have 2 spanners here to remove the nuts. We're going to clean this out, and this is what we're going to be sealing. We got a 17 and 11/16, so metric and imperial, just because it's the same size nut. Okay, let's get started. So because we use epoxy and acid, put the gloves on very first thing. Oh, and you got my wife who just brought me the fan, the most important tool in any job. Thanks, babe. Maybe too close to the camera. Trying to pick up the sound. Thank you. Oh, quite the difference. It's very hot these days in Grenada. Okay, so let's clean these out a little bit. And actually, I'll just let them soak. I'm going to use these pins. Oops. We're going to try and use some of these pins to hammer that locking pin out of there. So that's pretty cool. It's the exact right size for this pin. Now that the pin is out, you can pull the cap here, and then I think there's a spring in there. Yeah. So we got a spring, cap, and on top of it we got a washer, nylon washer. If I remember correctly, yeah. So here's the O-ring that leaks. And you look at the seal, the O-ring seal actually goes around this shaft. So one thing you can do is replace this O-ring. Okay, and maybe that will fix the problem, but then again, maybe not. Anyways, I've had no luck trying to repair these, so I actually just sealed them off and forget the O-ring altogether. So I cleaned off the pieces that we're going to be keeping, the 2 nylon washers on the outside, and the shafts, obviously, and the 2 caps, top caps. We got some silicone on one of them, or some whatever sealant they put. I'm gonna clean that off. Okay, yeah, we're also going to be using these 2 black plastic spacers, kind of. So here's the plan. I'm going to put back the spacer, the nylon spacer in there. Put back the turning cylinder. What you do is you want to have it centered. It can turn from one side to the next a little bit. So what you want to try and do is center it, turn it around so it doesn't move, and then put the black spacer in, slide it all the way down. I use these picks to do stuff like that. You want to slide it all the way down, and this is the part around here that we're going to be filling with epoxy. So we're going to prepare both of them. So we mix some epoxy. So this one is 1 for 1. And just try to pick it up and slide it into the space you got there. You can use this pointy pick to get the air out from the bottom so that it actually, the epoxy slides into the tube. All right, that should be enough. Clean this one out fast because you don't want it to harden on your tools. Alright, so this should be enough. It should be enough to ensure that it's never going to leak again. Just wipe off some of the excess. There we go. So you don't want to touch these for a good 24 hours until it hardens. So the screws after the acid bath are looking pretty good. They're looking brand new actually. You just gotta dry them off. Actually, what I've cleaned with acid, it's these screws and the 2 caps. I'm gonna wash off with fresh water because you don't want to be touching it afterwards with your bare hands if there's been any acid on it. All nuts, all bolts, everything that's stainless I always keep. I've been keeping them since 2015 basically, so it's very rare that I need to buy stuff. I always manage with what we have. We try to manage with what we have. Even the springs, I know they're stainless, so I'm keeping them. You can even see from the last boat, same type of spring. And the latches, a little bit rusty. I didn't clean them, but I'm not going to be using them anytime soon. I'll keep them anyways. Maybe one of you guys, another lagoon owner, will need one of these because they do break. Sometimes they get so rusty here. They get so rusty here at this part so that they break off. So if anyone needs any, I can clean them off for you and send them. Next step, we're going to be fixing the leaks that we have with the emergency tiller cap. So you need your winch handle. Okay, as you can see, there was already some sealant on there that I've put in when we first bought the boat. And we're going to reseal it properly this time. Okay, if we look at the cap, what you see here, okay, you see some of the sealant I put in. So you can always replace this O-ring. They're specially made, they're not regular O-rings. You can always replace this and it won't leak for a few months and then it starts leaking again. So what I do is I clean this off properly, both sides, right? And then put back the O-ring, and I put just a little bead of silicone, or rather 295 UV. I actually put Sika just between the lip and the O-ring. Put a small bead and then screw it in, and you let it set. Clean off the excess obviously and just let it set. And what you don't want to do, I've done this before, you don't want to put tons of silicone or sealant all around it, because then you will not be able to open it. If you put just a little bead what's happening is it's gonna keep the water out 100%, but you'll always also be able to use the wrench and just open it up without excessive force. So little bead, no more water. And if you have the Lagoon 42, for example, the 42 has a new type. I just noticed the other day, they have a new type of cap. It actually has a like a black ring around it. And I've spoken to a few owners, and apparently they also leak. I can't figure out how to make a cap that won't leak. Apparently we can go to the moon, but cannot fabricate a cap that won't leak. Impossible, I guess. So regarding sealant, I have a question for you. How old were you when you found out what this was for? This pin. I think I was like 30, 35. I'm gonna put that small bead. Try not to make a mess. All right, we're just gonna drop it in. Okay, and then you just close off the joint. And remove the excess. There we go, a nice small joint, shouldn't leak. We're gonna let it dry for a day or two, and then dump a few buckets of water on top and look on the bottom, see if there's any leak. If not, well, we're good to go. So on the next day, all the epoxy is cured. Yesterday you saw me put epoxy inside here in the tube. I wasn't crazy about the result. You can see here the crevice, the epoxy was basically flowing out. So what I did when I was doing the other side, I added tape just to make it higher. And then it just made like a cylinder to keep the epoxy in. And now we have like a huge amount of epoxy. So this will never break or never leak again. So I'm just gonna take off the tape on these ones, which should come off pretty easy. All right, and we're ready to go. We're gonna go put these back in. All right, so we remove the tape, both of them. I'm gonna clean off the edge because we're gonna be putting new Sika 295 UV to seal it. So you want a nice clean surface. So we got some Sika 295 here. We're gonna fill in the edge properly. Putting a rather big bead because I really want it sealed, and I'm gonna just have to clean up the excess with the alcohol. So you kind of center it, slide it in, make it straight, and we go to the underside, hold it in place. All right, so you gotta hold you gotta hold the cap on and screw these in at the same time. The latch itself is holding anyways with the Sika. All right, make sure it's centered. Looks good. All right. Okay, so now the excess we just wipe off. It's a bit messy. So that's it, no more leaky engine covers. So when you pull it up, now you're not turning these anymore. No more turning, you just go straight up. And that's it. Close it down, finish. So again, this could be a controversial repair, knowing that we cannot actually lock the latch and it's not turning anymore. So it's up to you to think if you want to do it or not. The two cylinders are actually holding the covers down, but of course, like I said, if you're in a big sea, a big following sea, and the waves come crashing, it could maybe flip the hatch open. I've been thinking of putting just an external lock on the hatch itself, on the front part, on the back part. So that's just something to think about. So that concludes our third video, and if you have any comments, any requests, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Hit the like button and share the video. Have a good day. We'll see you in the next one.